this is Kelly. I'm now ready to give you the most exciting GH news, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel. As someone who has followed every twist and turn in Port Charles since the days when Laura was still finding her footing and the Quartermaines ruled with iron fists, I thought I had seen it all. But this Storm Night delivery has me glued to the screen like I was in my 30s again, heart pounding right along with the characters. The way it all unfolded felt so raw and real. Portia going into early labor right there in her own home during that massive blackout was already terrifying enough. No power, no phones working properly, roads blocked by fallen trees. It was as if the whole city had turned against her. I kept thinking to myself, this poor woman has already been through so much with her family and her career, and now nature itself is testing her strength. When Isaiah turned out to be the only one there to help, my first reaction was pure disbelief mixed with admiration. Here is a man nursing a broken arm from that awful confrontation with Curtis, yet he pushes through the pain to stay calm and steady. It reminded me of the old school heroes we used to see on the show, the ones who step up no matter the personal cost. What really got to me was how Isaiah had to improvise everything on the floor of that house with almost no medical supplies. The tension built so perfectly as the baby started showing signs of distress and Portia began bleeding heavily. I was literally holding my breath during those moments, whispering to the television, "Come on, Isaiah, you can do this." The choice he faced between saving the mother or the child in those primitive conditions felt heartbreakingly authentic. It was not some glossy hospital scene with monitors beeping and teams rushing in. This was gritty, desperate, and deeply human. I have to give the writers credit for daring to go there. It feels different from the classic General Hospital births I remember, like when Bobby or Monica delivered under more controlled circumstances. This one carries a heavier emotional weight because of the personal histories involved. Isaiah's arrival into the Robinson family through such dramatic means has already changed everything. I have always been fond of Portia. She is a strong, professional woman who has fought hard for her place in medicine and in her family. Seeing her vulnerable like that made me appreciate her resilience even more. Yet I cannot help wondering how this experience will reshape her. Will the trauma bring her closer to those around her, or will it deepen the fractures we have already seen? My personal feeling is that it will do both, in that complicated way life often does. Portia has shown time and again that she can endure, but carrying the memory of nearly losing her child in such terrifying isolation might leave scars that even time cannot fully heal. And then there is the growing shadow of Curtis in all of this. The hatred that Portia and Isaiah both carry toward him seems to expand with every episode. Curtis striking Isaiah in anger was already a dark moment, but now it feels like that violence has rippled out to affect this new life entering the world. I find myself asking, will Curtis ever truly understand the consequences of his actions? In my heart, I hope he does, because I have always seen potential for redemption in him. He has been a complicated character protective, sometimes hot-headed, but capable of great love. Still, watching the consequences play out makes me question whether some bridges have been burned beyond repair. This storyline feels fresh compared to older Curtis arcs. It is not just about romance or business rivalry anymore. It is about how one man's temper can endanger an entire family in their most vulnerable hour. I love how the show is weaving the personal stakes with the larger Robinson family dynamics. Isaiah stepping into this role as the unlikely hero creates such interesting possibilities. He is not a traditional leading man in the soap sense, yet his courage under pressure has already earned my respect. I keep imagining the conversations that will come later, Portia thanking him while still processing the fear, Isaiah downplaying his own injuries to focus on the baby's health. These quiet moments after the storm will be just as powerful as the delivery itself. Will this bond between Portia and Isaiah grow into something deeper, or will it remain a connection forged purely in crisis? I suspect the writers will surprise us, as they so often do. One thing I particularly appreciate is how the episode captured the isolation of Port Charles during the blackout. It felt like the town itself became another character, its usual hustle and bustle stripped away to reveal the fragility underneath. I remember similar weather-driven plots from years ago, but none carried quite this level of intimate danger. The power outage cutting off rescue services made everything feel urgent and immediate. It reminded me why I fell in love with General Hospital in the first place, the way it mixes big, sweeping drama with deeply personal human struggles. No fancy special effects needed when the real tension comes from characters fighting for life in a dark living room. As a longtime viewer, I have my theories about what comes next, and I am excited to see if I am right. That baby is going to be a catalyst for so many changes. Will the Robinson family rally together stronger than before? Or will old resentments toward Curtis create new divisions? I lean toward the hopeful side, but I know the show loves to throw curveballs. Portia's recovery will be key. She is a doctor herself, so watching her heal both physically and emotionally while adjusting to motherhood again should provide rich material. And Isaiah, how will this experience affect his own place in Port Charles? He came in with his own baggage, and now he has blood on his hands in the most literal, life-saving sense. I also cannot stop thinking about the moral weight of that life or death choice Isaiah faced. In real life, doctors train for these nightmare scenarios, but doing it alone with a broken arm elevates it to something almost mythic. It makes me reflect on how General Hospital has always explored medical ethics in compelling ways. This feels like a modern update, less about hospital politics and more about raw human instinct when systems fail. I admire the bravery of showing that not every birth story ends in perfect triumph. There will be complications, I am sure, and that realism only makes me more invested. Friends who watch with me have been texting non-stop about this episode. Some worry it might be too intense for the show's tone, but I disagree. General Hospital has always balanced high drama with heart, and this sequence delivers both. It honors the audience by trusting us to handle real stakes. I find myself replaying the scenes in my mind, wondering what I would have done in Isaiah's place. Would fear have paralyzed me, or would love for that unborn child have guided my hands? These are the kinds of questions that keep me coming back after all these decades. Looking ahead, I sense the storm's aftermath will ripple through many storylines. Relationships will be tested, secrets may surface, and new alliances will form. The hatred toward Curtis feels like a simmering pot ready to boil over. Will it lead to confrontation, forgiveness, or something in between? I am betting on a mix of all three, because that is what makes this show so addictive. Portia deserves peace after this ordeal, but peace in Port Charles is never simple. The new baby represents hope amid the chaos, a bright spot that the Robinson family desperately needs. In the end, this plot development has reignited my passion for General Hospital in ways I did not expect at my age. It reminds me why I have stayed loyal through cast changes, writing shifts, and evolving television trends. The heart of the show remains the same people who love, fight, make mistakes, and try to do better. Isaiah's heroism, Portia's strength, and the looming presence of Curtis create a perfect storm of drama that I cannot wait to see unfold. Bring on the next episodes. The way the writers handled the tragedy felt raw and unflinching. In those final desperate moments, despite Isaiah's skill and determination, the little one could not be saved. Portia's heavy bleeding and the baby's distress proved too much under those primitive conditions. I sat there with tears in my eyes, remembering all the hopeful births I have witnessed on this show over the decades. This one hits differently. It is not just a medical emergency. It is a devastating consequence of isolation, timing, and the violence that preceded it. The power outage, the blocked roads, Curtis's earlier attack on Isaiah that left him injured and compromised, all of it converged into this heartbreaking outcome. It feels like the show is proving how one man's anger can destroy lives in ways no one anticipated. This loss has ignited something fierce in both Portia and Isaiah. Their shared hatred for Curtis is no longer simmering. It is exploding into a full-blown obsession. I can see it in Portia's eyes, the grief turning into something colder and more determined. She has always been a strong woman, a doctor who saves lives, but now she carries the pain of failing to bring her own child safely into the world. Isaiah, who stepped up as the unlikely hero, feels the weight of that failure too, even though he did everything humanly possible. Their desire to make Curtis pay is growing stronger with every episode. I keep asking myself, will this push them toward revenge that goes too far? The answer seems to be yes, at least for now. The story is building this new obsession so convincingly that I find myself torn. Part of me understands their rage completely. Curtis's temper created the conditions for this tragedy, and the consequences are devastating. Yet another part of me, the longtime viewer who has watched countless redemptions, wonders if this fire will consume them or force Curtis to finally confront the damage he has caused. This new shock is proving to be one of the most haunting developments in recent years. The aftermath is already creating fresh disasters. Portia is retreating into herself, her medical career and family ties strained like never before. Isaiah's presence in the Robinson family, once a beacon of unexpected hope, now carries the shadow of shared trauma. Their bond, forged in that dark living room, feels unbreakable but also dangerous. I have never seen Portia this consumed by anger, and it fascinates me as much as it worries me. It is different from older storylines where losses led to quicker healing. Here, the grief is fueling a darker drive, one that threatens to pull more people into the conflict. What will happen next has me on the edge of my seat. Will Portia and Isaiah's obsession lead them to expose Curtis's worst mistakes publicly, or will they seek something more personal? I suspect the writers are building toward explosive confrontations that will test every relationship in Port Charles. The town is still recovering from the storm, but the emotional storm inside the Robinson home feels even more destructive. This tragedy has reminded me why I remain so passionate about General Hospital after all these years. It dares to explore the ugly side of pain and how it transforms people. Not every birth brings joy, and not every hero saves the day perfectly. That realism makes the characters feel alive.